G'day fellas and welcome to A Casted Game. We are here in Season 5, we finally made it, we're back, and we are on Mongolian Heights casting some Mongol action, spawning in on the south side of the map in the colour teal, playing as the Delhi Sultanate. We've got Crackety here, and on the west side of that, or rather, on the west side of the map, I'm too excited, I can barely get it out. On the west side of the map, in the colour pink, playing as the Mongols, we've got ATXM. These two are back. They are the only ones playing on the ladder at the moment, so I said, you know what, we're just going to cast every single damn game that they play. If you haven't seen Crackety here before, I will leave a link in the description to where you can watch him live. He sometimes streams over on a little place called Twitch. And for ATXM, well, I don't think he's got any socials, but I can tell you he's a pretty decent player. Conqueror 3 in the last season, so he knows what he is doing, and he's picked the Mongols here on their home map. You know, if there was ever a home map for a civilization, I can't help but feel like this would be it for the Mongols. I mean, is there anything else that you could imagine, possibly? No, it's Mongolian Heights, baby. And we've got all that beautiful sheep coming out on this map. I think they did actually change the way that the sheep spawn on this map. It used to be crazy down towards these little pockets along the along the river, but I don't think it's that way anymore. Ever since that map update came through, remember how before it used to be like 3 crossings that you had? Now it's 5 crossings, and the crossings are massive. So it doesn't really feel like as much of a turtle map as it used to. So let's talk a little bit about the start. Crackety going to be starting us off with a dock, and we do see that those fishing boats are going to be coming out. And one thing to note, I didn't know this. Delhi fishing boats have got more health than a normal fishing boat. I didn't know that. It wasn't until I read the patch notes for Season 5 where it's like, updated the Delhi bonuses to also indicate the fact that their fishing boats have more health. I was like, damn, dude, I didn't know that. I know that they shoot. I know that they're total badasses in the Dark Age. But I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes down, because ADXM is already on the barracks hype train, so we're going to have some early action here. Does he look to just annoy inside the base of Crackety, maybe? Because I don't feel like you can really do much to pressure on that front with the Delhi. I feel like it's so unlikely that you can really do anything, and you can see those spears just kind of walking out here. He's got a little bit of a rally point down and now heading up the river, just looking to check out. I suspect just looking to check out exactly what he can find. Now, remember that he spots it immediately, but Crackety's fishing boats can fire, so even if you're over here, you're not going to be able to do too much. Now, immediately turning around, wait, the fishing boats missed everything. Villager's going to have to head for a little bit of a run right here. I think he will get the kill at the very least on that Vill, as long as he doesn't loop him around too much. And you can see that Vill is going to go down. One damage done. And that spear moves back on, so gets out. I like the fact that he just opens with the 2 spears. A little bit of a yoink coming in over here. So Crackety already losing out on that 1 villager. So I think already from ADXM's perspective, he's pretty happy with that, right? Like getting the 1 villager. The problem is you're up against the Delhi, and the Delhi's on the water. And this is not a good thing, right? Like, you don't want this to happen. Now, one thing to note is we've also had a change in the sacred sites on this map. So I'm actually starting to like this a bit more. For anybody who forgets or doesn't remember how the sacred sites used to be, the way that it used to work is they spawned all the way up here, and it was terrible, right? Like, the Delhi would sneak in their little scholars over to each of the corners and wall them in really. All you needed were like 2 walls. But now they're a little bit more open, a little bit more central. And this is a good thing, and it's a bad thing. It's a good thing for Delhi because it means if you're winning, you can win even more by getting that second sacred site rather than being boxed out from it. And it's a bad thing in that if you're not winning as the Delhi Sultanate, then you'll be lucky to even get a single sacred site. So, interesting map for the Delhi. We do see the mosque now coming down as well for Crackety. No real sign of an age up coming through just yet. Behind that, we see the Khan is going to be looking to attack on the mill. Now, he's got the stone and the gold out here, so there could be the potential for an outpost to come through here. We can see already that ADXM is going to be moving out to the middle of the map and throws down a dock in the center here. And look at this. Look at Crackety just being so damn cheeky. I think he almost knows that he wants the dock to come down, so just look to block it for a little bit. And look at this. Straight away, fishing boats come down. And this is part of the reason why it's so difficult to deal with Delhi on these hybrid maps in the early game, because they've got these fishing boats that just come out and say, sorry, sir, but this river is taken. You're going to need to find yourself a new river. In fact, it's not a sir, it's a madam. But he can just park these fishing boats here now. He doesn't even need to hand in the food. He can just you know, take 40 food here, and he can just slowly cycle these in and out. Interestingly, doesn't go for that villager kill. A single HP remains. And we can see another villager going to be coming and looking to attempt to cross. So now it's a 1-for-1 trade. You can't mess with the Delhi when it comes to this kind of thing. They are just the kings of the kitchen. But let's check in over on ATXM's side, because I think this kind of leaves him in a difficult spot, right? Like, if I'm in ATXM's perspective, And this is the state of the game. You know, that classic case of ATXM's gotten up to the toilet, or gotten up to go to the toilet, and he said, Drongo, can you take over? Where do you even go from here, right? Like, because Delhi's got the water. This is becoming an issue, because I can't get across. And if I can't get across, I can't put an outpost down. And, I mean, he's going for a... This is not going well for ATXM. Oh, my lord, dude. Okay, I'm glad that it's ATXM playing and not me, because I tell you what, I feel like I would be doing much worse than this. This is tough, right? Like, think about it from the perspective of Crackety. Crackety is now in a really good position to go Castle Age. The problem is that he doesn't have gold. But gold is an easy thing to come by, as long as you're fluid. And remember, Crackety is. We see him now with 5 villagers on the gold in the north. And that's exactly what he wants. Silver Tree going to be coming out for ATXM. And I feel like if there is any way back into this game, it is through the Silver Tree. So I really like the thinking here from ATXM. Now, remember, the Silver Tree was nerfed for Season 5. You might be wondering, how did they nerf Silver Tree? What are you talking about, Drongo? So, Silver Tree gives a reduction in cost, as well as a reduction in time that it takes to train traders. They changed it from 50% down to 40% reduction. So not as big of a reduction. Still pretty good, right? Like, you're going to write home about that. So production speed of traders increased by 40% rather than 50%, with a 40% reduced cost, or gold cost, rather than a 50%. So a very, very slight reduction there on that trade nerf. But back over on the other side of the map, we do have the Dome of the Faith coming down here for Crackety. So interesting decision. Not going for that Tower of Victory. So this leads me to believe he might be looking to go into the new Ghazi Raider, the brand new unit for the Delhi Sultanate. Of course, a unit that is essentially just a horseman, but with a couple of other little tidbits on it. You know, it's nothing crazy. Like, if I was to think of a real unique unit, I'd be thinking like the Musafadi warrior, right? Like from the Malians. There's nothing even like that. Whereas, I guess, to be fair, there's nothing really like the Ghazi Raider then, realistically. I mean, maybe it's just because in my head they've just reskinned. Maybe because they've just reskinned and given it a new weapon that I'm like, it's just the same thing. It's just a slightly different. I mean, it's more expensive. It's got more bonus damage. And speaking of bonus damage, that Khan found out the hard way that bonus damage is indeed on those spearmen. But let's check in with him and see. I like how all the buildings flash as they update to the feudal age. So that's pretty cool right there. And so it's going to be a blacksmith that's thrown down by Crackety. Second blacksmith thrown down. So big eco play right now. Crackety just, you know, really focusing on all of all of the land villages on wood as well as gold. And just looking to get that tech up. Keep in mind, he's got access to the water, and he's just going ham with it at this point. Now, down towards that south side, we did see docks coming up, but a sneaky little wall's coming as well. I don't think we called that one out just yet. Spear's looking to try and put on some pressure. Not going to be able to find it just yet. ATXM, let's ride on board with him, because the arrow slits are through. So he's got that extended range now coming out. Might have to move the fishing boats up a little bit further on the creek, and indeed he does. So starting to disrupt a little bit of that economy. Now, he could go for the next one. This is where you want to daisy chain these bad boys in, but he's just going to look to repair initially. So I think ATXM wants to get his traders out, but at this... Oh, that's painful. That's super painful. Can he put that down? I mean, the wolf's not attacking him, which is nice. I tell you what, this is not ATXM's game, is it? Like, he's just not having a good game. It's really tough for him right now. I feel for the guy, man. So you just throw this down. You start trading over into the corner. Let's see what he does. Wheelbarrow now comes through for him. He wants to find that castle age. The problem that he's going to have is even if he finds the castle age, because he's going to be trading, he's up against the Delhi Sultanate, who are going to play lancers, right? Like, it's so difficult. How do you deal with the Delhi Sultanate lancers? And we do see the silver tree now going to come down. Does that wolf start attacking buildings? I don't remember. I don't think the wolf attacks buildings, but it will start attacking those traders now. So that'll be a little bit awkward when they do come through. But in the middle of the map, we've got a spear on spear war with a little bit of fishing boat action up the rear. Outpost does get cancelled. It's curious to me that he didn't push up a little bit further, because you can daisy chain that in right there and then just keep the units inside the outpost. You can't really challenge that at all. I mean, you can try and look for a challenge, but it's going to be hard. So at the moment, we don't see there they are. Finally, the traders coming through. We're right on board with Crackety, as that age up is on the way soon. I say soon, but he's still a bit off it. We can see that Sanctity's through. Another 44 seconds to go. How many scholars has he got out? 2 scholars for the moment, and going heavily into archers as well. So if he goes into archers, that's going to force horsemen out from his enemy. But remember, the Mongols don't have horsemen anymore. They do have the more expensive gold heavier unit that is going to be the Keshik. So the Keshik is now out, so he could look to go into Keshiks here, but Keshik's quite expensive. They do cost that large amount of gold, so maybe something that can be avoided. But we do see the Mangudai going to be on the field now for ATXM here. Looking to try and get some damage out, trying to find any villagers that he can. One of the Mangudai does go down, so losing about half of his DPS right there. Maybe not half, maybe about a third of the DPS, considering he's got 3 units out here. But he does actually head into a dead end. Not what you like to see. ATXM, I tell you what, man, he is really having a tough game. And now we got the walls starting to come up for Crackety. Crackety just doing everything right so far in this game. Continuing to pump out units onto that front line. We can see he's idled out a little bit here. I like the fact he hasn't even explored over on the enemy side. He just knows what he needs to do, and he's doing it on his side of the map. Pretty big imbalance when it comes to resource, or not resource, but unit count here. Let's take a look at the resource count, though. So at the moment, it looks like about 1,500, 1,600 for Crackety. And then over on the other side, looking at about 12 to 1,300 for ATXM. So bit of an advantage starting to build there for Crackety, and largely because of that fishing boat advantage. You can see that the fishing boat numbers still haven't really caught up for ATXM. And on top of that, his trade hasn't really kicked off just yet. I would expect that the numbers over here are probably going to be pretty reasonable. Maybe around like the 86, 87 gold number. Probably not that high, actually. Maybe like 82, because this one doesn't go all the way. But it is kind of diagonal as well. That's one thing to know. I'm going to go with 86. Let's have a look and see. 79. So pretty decent. Also brings in the food as well, which is always nice. Nice little bit of 7. 7 ain't bad. But we can now see those sacred sites are neutralized. It's in a little bit more of an aggressive position now, or a little bit more of a central position. So I do think this makes it quite a lot easier to challenge than before. I mean, I say easier than before. It was in this awkward spot where it was like up against the wall here like that. It was very difficult to challenge that, especially you had to challenge the one that was on your side. So over here, that kind of gave you a pretty good option, but still even then it was quite difficult, I think. If I remember correctly. Maybe I'm not remembering correctly. Maybe it was really easy to neutralize. But we do now start to see the age ups coming through. Look at Crackety just going for the House of Learning. Who even needs the Great Mosque? Who needs the Tower of Victory? I'm just going to go Dome of the Faith. I'm just going to go for the House of Learning. I'm going to treat this game like it's 2021. And I'm just going to do classic. Well, to be honest, in 2021, people weren't playing the Delhi Sultanate. But if they were, they would have been going House of Learning and the Dome of the Faith. That is for sure. But now looking to start and clean up this this northern sacred site. I would suspect at the moment Crackety just wants it for the gold. That's pretty much it. Behind this, though, what does Crackety look to go into? Because you can see he's teching a whole bunch of things right now. Just the basic tech. Once the age up comes through, I would suspect he just goes full Lancers, right? Like that's got to be it. But even then, there's not a lot of production out for Crackety. What is he? Is he just going straight to Imperial? Crackety is the kind of guy who goes Imperial. But I don't think he would be that BM right here. Demo ship. Oh, don't do me like that, camera. Big explosion. Good. Nice explosion, honestly. I take that. 3, 6. He takes out 6 units there. So you're looking at somewhere in the region of about 500 resources. Not a bad little trade. And continuing to move towards that top side. Looking to shut down trade right now. ATXM with a distinct lack of units in this northern corner. Or rather, this western corner. Starting to work on the men-at-arm numbers as well. You see the step redoubt going to get thrown down here. Avoiding the Kurultai. Which is interesting, because normally you see the combination of the Kurultai together with the Silver Tree, but not going to be having it today. Got to be careful with these traders. One goes down. Second one gets taken out. A lot of villagers have been lost today for ATXM, and you can see he's still managing to keep up with his enemy, right? 50 versus 53. It's not terrible. But remember, a lot of that is just going to be your fishing boats, which are still technically counted as military units for another season. It is one of those bugs that probably just will never get fixed. I mean, we'll probably be casting in 2025 and it will still be showing up as military. Because, I mean, technically it is kind of military, but is it really? Not really. I mean, it's not really. It's not. I mean, we shouldn't be counting it. We should just be looking at the main things, at the units that go boom boom. But let's take a look and see at the House of Learning. And look at the upgrades coming in. Reinforced foundations coming through. Villagers and infantry can garrison inside houses for protection. He picks it up and also gives an extra 50% population space on those bad boys. So he rockets up to 100. Or is it 50? Or is it an extra 50% health? So he's going to be looking to utilize one of the most rarely used unique technologies in the game. Let's ride on board with him and watch as that attack continues to come around the backside. Meanwhile, on the front, we do have those lancers coming in. He's going to meet a couple more villagers. ATXM just throwing away villagers this game. Having a lot of trouble against Crackety. He is always on the move, very mobile. Back towards that top side, we do start to see the Khan going to be looking to defend here. A handful of hardened spearmen out on the front line. Archers on the back. And now that single trader just going to be running past and saying, great bait, mate. Indeed, it was a great bait, mate. But it looks like the archer numbers are probably going to fizzle out here. He's got the Khan, which should be able to provide the tanking as well as the DPS necessary to neutralize that threat. But this is the main issue, right? And this is what we were talking about. All of that fishing economy from the early game is now starting to transition into these very food-heavy units. We spoke about the Ghazi Raider as a potential option, but he's just going to go straight past it and go straight into the Lancers, and we start to see crossbow numbers beginning to build, but before they even do, they get taken out. And ATXM really struggling to keep his head above water at this point in the game. Up towards that north side, it looks like the archers, and he's not even going to bother going any further. A quick 2-0 right there from Crackety here. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go and check out Crackety here. I'll leave a link in the description. Just remember, this game was a short one. It was a quick one, but the games will get better. We're just casting every damn game we can find right now just to bring you Season 5 content. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you guys in the next one.